And we're back.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man? Oh, hey.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, hey.
It's your old pal, Mickey Mouse.
Did you see that meme I sent you?
Which one?
The one with the Disney characters in the hallway at Disneyland. I didn't show it to you.
I don't think so.
It's like this dude who's like sticking his head out the window because he hears some screaming, and it's these three like voices. One's Mickey, one's Donald, one's Goofy, and Mickey's like trying to bust the door down like to get into the door. And he's like, and like he goes, "Let me the fuck in there!" And then Goofy's like, oh, "Yuck, you bitch."
You bitch.
It's so good. Mike me, bitch. Anyways, yeah.
Hey, are you going to ask, bro?
Oh, yeah. Questions.
Jesus.
Questions.
The professionalism around here.
Okay, so I'm apparently supposed to ask him 10 questions for people who were born in 1976.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite movie star or celebrity growing up in the 80s or 90s?
Fucking Lee Majors.
Lee Majors.
Do you know who Lee Majors
He
is?
He
was
$1
the
Million
fall guy,
Man?
dog. Like, he was the $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
But I was a little too young for the $1 Million Man.
Gotcha.
He was the fall guy.
Fall guy. They just remade that movie.
Hey, but listen, that's not the best part of the story. The best part of the story is I was a kid with a lot of imagination. And so my favorite thing to do would to be to get, my dad drove a brown truck, and it looked kind of like the Fall Guy truck.
Right.
And so I would just, ask for like the keys to get in the truck and like roll down the windows and pretend like I was fucking driving and doing stunts. And then I would be like to my imaginary friend or maybe my brother, I don't know, like, hold the wheel. I'm going to get on like the hood or whatever, you know what I mean? And I would slowly like crawl out and I'd be like, oh, like doing like fucking Fall Guy stunts. Yeah.
Fucking Lee Majors. You know who Lee Majors is to me?
Who?
Did you ever see the movie Out Cold?
No, but I know the movie though.
This is like a snowboarding
It's
stoner movie.
It's so horrible.
So Lee Majors plays like the bad guy in the movie.
God bless.
He plays the dude, like the oil guy who comes in to buy the ski resort.
Poor Lee.
It's so good. That's like I think that's one of Zach Galifianakis' like first movies. Let's see. Do you remember like the original Hercules show?
What do you mean with who?
Like a TV show, like the one that preceded like Xena Warrior Princess.
That with Kevin
O'Donnell or yeah, sure, that guy.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't watch it.
I remember watching it like a little bit. Like if it was on, we would watch it, but it wasn't like something we would like actively go to watch.
Okay, well, you just
I don't know why, but for some reason Lee Majors reminds me of that guy a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah,
they both got big foreheads.
Yeah, I can. Okay. What was your go-to arcade game or video game console during your teenage years?
My teenage years?
Specifically, yeah.
God, I guess. Wow. I mean, I guess we really played a lot. We played a lot of Sega Genesis.
I had a Sega Genesis. I was like a little kid.
Yeah, but so I know. Oh, God bless. My brother will love that I tell this story. This is one of his favorite stories to tell because it's so typical of our relationship. There was this game called NCAA football, whatever fucking year it was, or I think it was the first one or whatever. And they had like I don't know if it was like the all teams or like certain years or the years that won the championship or whatever. But all you need to know is that my brother would always pick Auburn and use Bo Jackson, and he would just do sweep to the right, sweep to the left. I'd take the whole team and shift them over to the side.
It was like that Pro Bowl game or whatever?
Yeah, I would take the whole team and shift them over to the side. Like I'd grab, you know how you have to highlight a guy and move? Yeah. I would grab every guy and highlight and move him over. Because like he would be so far on one side of the football, there's no way he's going that way. He's going this way, and then he would just go right, and he would just laugh at me the whole time, just laugh in my face, And like as a teenager, and he was young, I was just like, I really want to throw you out this window. We're gonna live second story. I want to throw you out this window. You know what I mean? And that's probably why he doesn't trust people.
He is probably
because of me.
Well, it's the same thing as like you played like with the Raiders. in Techno Bowl or whatever. It's the same
Yeah,
concept, right?
look, Bo Jackson in any fucking football game is the
Was a
greatest
superhero.
athlete ever. Ever.
I mean, he kind of is one of the greatest athletes ever.
Okay.
I mean, he got cut short, but like if you look at like his abilities, even back then, even to today's standards,
Okay,
like, it's still
okay.
crazy.
Is there there's no one that has played 3 pro sports, correct?
Dion played 2.
Everybody's like,
Yeah.
but there are people that have been pro athletes and Olympians, right?
I mean, yeah, like half the basketball league.
So, oh yeah, that's right. That was I brain farted on that one.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of like 3-star like someone that played football, baseball, and was like some sort of Olympian. Maybe
Sure.
that would be the closest thing, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Bo Jackson's a pretty damn good athlete, though.
Yeah. Sad. His ending is sad, but he was good.
Well, it's not his fault he's so explosive, right?
Dude. I
mean,
mean,
it's not his fault the rest of his body didn't want to go with his hip when it was exploding out of the ground.
There was somebody. I watched football the other day. I can't remember if it was college or pro, but somebody has a running back now who runs like the old school running back, like the Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson dudes who just ran people over. You know, they just weren't able to be tackled, it seemed like, like, because now running back's kind of boring now. They either hit a hole and they take off or they get tackled. There's no bouncing off of people and spinning and all weird shit like that anymore. And
fuckers are too fast.
There was one player that was just running through people, and I was like, this is the kind of running backs that I like to watch. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it entertaining.
I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I know everybody's gonna be like, you're a fucking hater and whatever, but I would just much rather have a quarterback that plays like Brett Favre and win 1 Super Bowl than I really would want to have somebody that plays like Tom Brady that wins 7. I would just rather
Yeah.
I'd rather see it won that way. I'm not saying what Tom Brady isn't great. I'm just saying, like, can I have a style? Can I have a style that I like of football being played? Like, you like the kind of running back you like?
Dink and dunk fucking football is kind of boring to watch after a while. It's
not
exciting to watch.
Spurs basketball.
Yeah, it's not exciting to watch at all.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
nobody wants to watch Spurs basketball.
Yeah.
I'm a hater.
I don't think anybody wants to watch Spurs basketball anymore anyway.
Well, not right now, they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look, hey, everybody, every
Since
rose has its thorn.
Popovich, he left a long time ago, right?
No, he's still there, dog.
No.
Yeah.
What is he, like 90 years old?
No, I mean, he's still, I don't know.
He was old as shit like 10 years ago.
Look, this is all I'm going to tell you in my experience. This is my experience in my job. Okay? And this is no offense to anybody. But somewhere past like 76, 77, just nobody's cognitive skills are going to last forever. And things kind of start like slipping. You know what I mean? And now you're coaching a whole basketball team like 86.
You should just run for president. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody else is. All right. So, were you more of a Star Wars fan, Star Trek fan, or something else entirely?
Okay, one, don't even talk to me about the Star Trek bullshit.
I'm the same way.
And and dog, you know I have Star Wars tattoos. So like, what do you think?
I mean, you told me to ask you questions. I know. I didn't know the answers.
No, but did you know it was Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew it was Star Wars.
You have a lightsaber tattoo.
And I have the pistol. Where's the fucking pistol?
Yeah.
Oh, it's here.
I love you. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I like when I fucking forget where my tattoos are. That's always nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way. Star Wars is superior in every way.
You know what? Like I don't know what this was, but there's some correlation between Star Trek and it being on TBS. Like what that? I mean, that's what the channel.
The Next Generation one.
No. It was like that was the reruns of the old one would come on like TBS. I guess maybe they had like some sort of like I don't know, throwback show, like whatever those things are called. They run reruns and stuff like that. And I just I didn't watch TBS because I didn't like any other programming on there. And so I just and Star Wars, I mean, it was so big, dog. Like it came out the year after I was born. I mean,
yeah, I mean Star Wars was one of those movies that like I grew up watching, but it seemed like an old movie when I grew up watching it. Even when I grew up watching it, I was like, this is an old movie. Like because at the time graphics had already come sort of
That's
a
what
long
I'm saying.
way, right?
Yeah.
But when the new ones came out, everybody hated on them so hard that it was hard for me to really get excited about Star Wars because everyone was like, well, the original ones are better. And I always thought they kind of looked weird. They were okay, but they weren't my favorite. And then when I got older, I got way more into Star Wars after the fact because you're not so invested. As a kid, you're like, oh my God, this is cool looking, right? Like if it didn't look super cool, I wasn't into it. But then when you start learning more about the story and actually being able to be old enough to understand the story and everything, like it becomes more entertaining. You know what I mean? Like to someone like my age, I think. I don't know. Maybe I just watched it too late.
No,
in
I,
life.
I think that's a totally fair thing. The only difference is, like when that came out, there were no
Right.
graphics. I mean, so that shit was mind blowing.
Right.
It was big. It was bigger than life.
Right.
You
No,
know,
I mean I don't doubt it at all. You
bro.
know?
Like I had a birthday party. It was like a Jedi birthday party.
I wanted to be a Jedi forever. It's like the coolest thing ever.
You know, let me tell you a story about what a spoiled piece of shit I was. Like, I had this thing about my toys being perfect, and so I guess I convinced my mom to buy me like 2 Luke Skywalker toys so I could put one on the cake, and then I could keep one that was like clean. What an asshole was I? Thanks, Mom. Thanks for feeding my OCD. That wasn't your fault, but that's very sweet.
How did MTV and the rise of music videos shape your music tastes?
Oh fuck. So in my hometown, either A, we couldn't get MTV, or B, my parents just told me we couldn't get MTV. I don't know which one it was. But my grandma lived in Victoria, and she had MTV. And I remember, I think what had happened was when I was kind of like in high school, maybe when I was like in high school and stuff like that, like it wasn't included in her cable package. She wasn't going to get MTV, but at some point it became included in the cable package she had. And then I found she had MTV, and then I was at her house all the time. And I would just go like, I would go like on my breaks, like, hey grandma, what's up? And like, she would like feed me, and I would just sit in the living room and watch MTV because we didn't have it. You know what I mean? And then once I had my own apartment where I had it, I would watch it all the time, you know, because everything about MTV and that kind of stuff is the things I was interested in, and everything that was happening in my hometown was not anything that was on MTV. And so I was always the kid. I felt like I was always the kid that was bringing MTV to my high school, and my high school was not interested.
Let's see. What was your favorite movie from the 80s? And does it still hold up today?
Okay. I don't know if this movie's in the 80s. It's got to be. Okay, I kind of want to spoil it, but like my favorite movie, I'm pretty sure it's from the 80s. It is established.
Your favorite movie is absolutely from the 80s.
Okay. Wait, you know what my favorite movie is?
Yes.
What is it?
Back to the Future.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the greatest movie of all time.
There are people who think it's a perfect script. Yeah.
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 A lot of Reddit.
No, it's legit. Like real people. Like honestly, like think this. It's like
it's a great movie, and it has Michael J. Fox in it.
Sure.
I thought Michael J. Fox was the tits when I was a kid.
It almost didn't.
Who was gonna be the guy?
I don't remember.
It was that one dude. I know. It's like that redheaded dude. Like
no, it wasn't red. I don't think.
No,
they had to reshoot some of it because they already shot it with something.
Yes.
His name was.
He was like a kind of a heartthrob at that time.
I can't remember his name. Clearly, he didn't do shit afterward.
No, but he was in some roles. He had some really good roles. He just
wasn't
didn't.
Michael J. Fox.
Well,
Yeah.
Man.
You know, he was shooting. Was it Family Ties? You said.
Yeah.
He was shooting that like during the day, and then shooting Back to the Future that night. Like he was shooting them both at the same time. Pretty crazy.
Man. Hey, quick shout out to.
Can you imagine I'm gonna go make this movie at night on as a side gig, and then it becomes Back to the fucking Future. Like think about that. It's crazy. It's definitely an '80s movie. It's like the '80s movie.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't want to think it was like I didn't want
Yeah,
to
it still holds up today.
I didn't want it to be look I didn't want it to be like 1990 and I'm just like it's not an
No,
80s movie or
definitely
whatever.
80s.
Like that's what I was afraid of.
Did you follow any major pop culture rivalries like the one between NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, or Marvel and DC Comics?
Mm.
Your rivalry was probably like rap rivalry,
Yeah, I was too busy.
like Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah. We'll make the best of this question. I was just into like pop culture, everything pop culture, anything pop culture. So anything was on TV, anything that was pop culture, I was into it all. So
Did you read comics when you were younger?
I collected comics. I never really read them. That was what's so weird because it came around at the same time as baseball cards for me. And so baseball cards were kind of something to be collected. And so I just kind of, the baseball card shops to stay alive would have to have comic books.
Right.
And so then you just get into comic books when I didn't. Because guess what? I used to have a #1 issue of Spawn.
Whoa.
And I bought, I bought it for like whatever it was, like $5.99, and at some point I sold it because I was like, what am I going to do with this? And then I'm kind of like now. I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. I had that in my hands. Like that thing's expensive.
My favorite superhero is Batman, who's not a Marvel guy, but I think my favorite group would be Marvel versus like.
Who's your favorite Batman?
Oh man, Val Kilmer? No, definitely not Val Kilmer.
He's my favorite Doc Holliday.
Very much so. Well, he's definitely better than fucking Dennis Quaid.
Poor Dennis Quaid.
Yeah. I would say like I grew up. My first one that I really paid attention to was Michael Keaton. And Batman Returns and stuff. I really like him as Batman. I think he did a good job, especially because he kind of defined the role for anybody else to play it in the future in that darker way versus like the Kapow Kachow guy, from like Adam West, like yeah.
Did you call him the Pow Kachow guy?
Yeah. You know what I mean though, right? Like it was so hokey and shit at that point.
I just never heard him called the Pow Kachow guy.
Well, every time they'd punch somebody, it'd be like bing, pow, bang. You know what I mean? Like yeah, anyway.
The old Kung Pao chicken guy.
So anyways, I think it was cool because everybody that's done it since has been some version of Michael Keaton's version. You know what I mean? Like either it's a darker version or whatever, but it was a combination of probably Michael Keaton, but also probably of who the hell was the director? I can't think of his name right now.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, thank you. It was Tim Burton's vision, I think, to keep it dark, because it's a dark story. You know what I mean? It wasn't such a hokey, I have to be a comic book guy. It was like, no, he's a tortured dude. And I think Michael Keaton was probably the lightest of them, you know what I mean, as far as like, he kind of was like almost like a goofball as Bruce Wayne, you know what I mean? Like, and kind of dorky a little bit. And then like, but I think to answer your question, my favorite Batman probably is Christian Bale, as far as like just
He's the easiest one to like.
He's just, I don't know if he's the easiest one to like. He's just, because he's kind of like not a super likable character, but Batman doesn't have to be. Like that's not his gig, right? Like I think it mostly, it's hard because I don't really like Batman necessarily for Batman. I think the character of Batman is cool, but the people who play him never really interest me. It's the villains. You know what I mean? Like
nobody talks about Ben Affleck though.
You know what though? As far as like a late stage Batman, kind of like early, like later on in his years, I think he is probably the most accurate looking one, and as far as like acting, he probably is the most accurate one for that as well. And they had one of the most realistic Batman kind of fight scenes I've ever seen. So.
Okay. I guess, there's this thing that like Batman has to be played as this kind of arrogant millionaire or billionaire, sorry, right?
Sure.
I like the way Michael Keaton played that in the sense of like he was like fun though.
Right.
Like, you know, he's like I have so much money, I'm fun.
Yeah.
You know?
He was like, I don't think I've ever even been in this room. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that thing. And that was an ad lib. He wasn't even supposed to say that.
But also, I really what's that cat from fucking Twilight? What was his Batman?
Dude, that's a good Batman.
That's a good Batman.
The Batman.
Yeah, that's a good Batman. And they're doing
Robert
follow up.
Pattinson.
They're doing follow up shits to that, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Just because
I think that dude from Saltburn is supposed to play the Joker.
Oh yeah,
the dude who licks the bathtub or whatever. Yeah, that guy.
I'm really excited to see how realistic they make Batman. Like, how can they pull off these kind of things that Batman does and make it like, oh, that shit could really happen.
Right.
Because I think that's it's a really unique take on the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Who's your favorite Joker?
Heath Ledger. And like,
I don't think it's even a question. Like,
but you know what? I think there's I was talking to one of my clients. There's a whole thing online where people like think like Heath Ledger's the worst Joker ever.
I think they're all full of shit.
But I also do like that. I really like that dude that with Adam West with that old Kung Pao Joker.
Yeah.
That what was his Caesar? He was like some Hispanic guy, and
yeah.
like he was just I don't know. The way he played it was like really interesting because they're like, you're kind of like a Hispanic Joker,
right?
You know what
Jack
I mean?
Nicholson was just Jack Nicholson playing the Joker. You know what I mean? Like he was still just Jack Nicholson. So
the casting of that particular movie was. I don't know if it was genius, but retrospectively, it looks genius. I don't know if that really,
sure.
They knew how great the casting was, but that was a really great cast they put together for that original Batman.
Yeah.
It was just cartoonish enough. It just, you know what I mean?
I agree.
And Jack Nicholson knew how to kind of make himself a cartoon character, kind of.
Yeah. Let's see.
There's kids listening, they're like, there's a Batman with Michael Keaton? You mean like, who's Adam West?
How did the fashion trends of the 80s and 90s influence the way you dressed?
I mean, I don't even know where to start with this question.
Did you have the MC Hammer pants?
Yep.
Did you have? Is that different than the Joey Buttafuoco pants?
Were those like the workout
the
pants?
windbreaker ones, the weird color ones, like the almost like the vanilla
like
ice
those zebra looking ones?
Yeah.
No, I did not have any of those.
No.
But I could tell you some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air stories about stuff my mom got me that was not the stuff that I wanted.
Did you ever do the like where you shave just like one side of your head?
So when it came to my hair, my mom, God bless. I mean, like I say this all the time. If my mom wouldn't have had such a hard hand on me, I could have tattoos on my face, you know. And so my mom, like, she wouldn't let me, like, I couldn't shave any lines in my hair. The most I wanted to grow like a rat tail. She wouldn't let me grow a rat tail. And then like New Kids on the Block came out and they were doing things where they were like lines. And they wouldn't let me do anything of that. So I couldn't do anything really with my hair other than have pretty much a normal haircut. And that sucked. No offense.
My mom used to let me. I could dye my hair weird colors and shit. And
you know, I think about that with like Lucy. You know, like, you know, she talks about like having like a pink mohawk and like things like that, and like, you know, I don't know how much it really matters. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
And she's a kid. She ain't looking for a job and stuff. You know what I mean? And like I want her to be like expressive. I also want to understand that like there's a level of responsibility comes around when you have a pink mohawk. You know what I mean? Like people might ask you questions or look at you stranger than they did before because this is not necessarily pink mohawks aren't that super normal in our culture. Well, I mean in Austin they are, but not in everywhere else. You know what I mean? The same thing. The level of responsibility comes along with having tattoos. You know, and that because it's not a big deal to me, that doesn't mean the perception of other people if they've never encountered somebody that has a bunch of tattoos. You know.
We already kind of they talked about this one already. Collecting things as a kid. What was the first concert you went to?
That I remember?
Both. I
I
know the
think
first one I went to.
I think the first concert I ever went to was the Eagles were playing a reunion tour in what the Texas State, what is DKR now, I don't know what it was like at the time, right? And I went with my girlfriend at the time and her dad. But my parents didn't take concerts are kind of like expensive like when I was a kid, and like my parents didn't do stuff like we didn't go to concerts and do things like that, right? Although Tim McGraw did play at my county fair before he was Tim McGraw. Nobody came. Like it was just like me and maybe like 5 people. And Indian Outlaw was the only song he had on the radio at the time, and like nobody showed up. That was wild.
Hmm.
But the first concert I ever went to where like I bought the tickets and shit was to go see Eminem at Stubbs Barbecue when I was in college. And that was one of the greatest shows I've ever been to in my entire life. It was so good. I'll never. It was one of those things like things happen in that show that like I'll never forget. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of fun. I love shows. I think, but it totally like started young. Like live music is just amazing. There's nothing that beats it for me. It's just great. So
What's the one memory of your mom that really stands out in your mind?
I don't know. It's hard. The most recent memories obviously weren't very great ones, but we. She was always just very. She was always just I don't know. I just remember just always knowing that she was. I was lucky to have a good mom, if that makes sense. And I think the memory is that. That's the memory that I have, is that I remember having a good mom, and I probably I always will. It was just kind of.
You knew you had a good mom.
Yeah. And I think that, and not in the sense that I think that like she's better than other moms, even though I do. It's just that like it was as I got older and I started talking to, certain friends or people at work or whatever who just don't have even they don't have a relationship with their mom, or it's been a bad one, or they just can't stand their parents, and they don't want to even talk to them. If they call them, it's annoying. Like it's just. I never had that. Like it was never ever that. I never that way.
You realize how lucky you are.
Yeah, and I was just going like, man, like I just go, man. I remember afterwards, like next time I talked to her, I was just like, hey, thanks just for being like my friend. Also, you know what I mean? In a way that wasn't like, it wasn't that she wasn't a mom. You know what I mean? But she was able to be both. You know what I mean? And it was okay. And it was like, she was somebody that I would just hang out with. Like it wasn't even like the fact that I have to go see my mom. I have to go I have to fly up there and hang out with my family because there's an obligation to go do so. It was like, no, I just want to go spend time up there just because it was fun. And I'm not the only person in the world like that, obviously, but there are a lot of people who don't, and it's just kind of like sad to me. And it's weird because I don't know. I don't even want to know what that would be like. So. As much as it sucks that she's gone so early, I feel very fortunate that I got to have her for as long as I did,